0500 hours, Dnipro River Corridor, Eastern Europe. The river moves like a massive, sluggish serpent through the dark landscape. Thick, freezing fog sits heavy on the surface, reducing visibility to less than 50 meters. 3 U.S. Riverine command boats drift down current, engines humming at a low idle. The steel hulls cut silently through the black water. Crewmen stand at their stations, breath visible in the cold air, wiping condensation from their visors. The only sound is the gentle lap of water against the metal plating and the distant rustle of dry reeds on the muddy banks. The world feels gray, cold, and empty. The radar operator on the lead boat leans forward, squinting at the green glow of his screen. A sweep reveals nothing. Then suddenly, 16 distinct blips materialize at the top of the display. They move fast, too fast for birds. The low, high-pitched whine of electric motors drifts down from the gray clouds above. The sound grows louder, like a swarm of angry hornets. The operator grabs the handset and shouts a hard warning to the bridge. The alarm klaxon screams across the water. It shatters the morning calm instantly. Sailors bolt from the small cabin to their battle stations. Heavy machine guns swing upward, barrels tracking the gray ceiling of the sky. The fog swirls violently as the air pressure drops. 16 dark shapes pierce the cloud layer. They dive in a V formation, wings sharp and predatory. These are not surveillance craft. They are loitering munitions, armed and hunting. The lead boat's captain slams the throttle forward. The twin diesel engines roar to life. The boat lurches, bow rising high out of the water. White spray erupts over the deck, soaking the forward gunner. "Weapons free! Engage air targets!" The tactical officer yells into the comms net. The gunners rack the charging handles on their heavy machine guns. The metallic clack signals readiness. The drones drop lower, skimming the wave tops. Their sensors locking onto the heat signatures of the boat engines. They are silent no more. Their engines scream as they accelerate for the attack run. The first drone opens fire with a mounted caliber pod. Tracers tear up the water surface, stitching a line of white foam toward the lead U.S. vessel. Bullets ping off the reinforced glass of the bridge. Sparks fly. The impact shakes the frame of the boat. The forward gunner squeezes his triggers. A wall of lead erupts from the U.S. boat. The heavy machine gun thumps rhythmically, spitting brass casings onto the wet deck. The rounds tear through the air, creating a cone of fire. The river is no longer silent, it is a kill zone. The U.S. flotilla scatters, engines screaming as they maneuver to survive the initial pass. The water churns into a chaotic froth of wake and explosion. 05:03 hours, Dnipro River mid-channel. The fog is gone, shredded by the violent wash of rotor blades and propellers. The air reeks of burnt cordite and unburnt diesel fuel. The gray water boils with the chaotic impact of hundreds of stray rounds. The sky above is a lethal web of red tracer fire and twisting gray smoke trails. The noise is deafening, a constant hammer of explosions and mechanical screaming. The 16 UK combat drones break their initial formation. They swoop upward, stalling momentarily in the cold air before banking hard for a second run. They dive like dark mechanical hawks. The lead U.S. Riverine boat swings its bow hard to starboard, engines thrashing the water into white foam. The rear gunner tracks the lowest drone. He plants his feet wide on the vibrating deck and depresses the butterfly triggers. The heavy machine gun roars. High-caliber rounds chew through the damp air. They smash into the leading drone's left wing. The composite material shatters. The wing snaps off cleanly. The drone spins wildly, black smoke pouring from its electric engine. It slams into the river surface just 10 meters from the boat. Water sprays high into the air mixed with jagged metal shards and burning lithium batteries. 3 more drones converge on the second patrol boat. They unleash a coordinated barrage of automatic fire. Rounds punch through the steel plating of the hull with the sound of a jackhammer. They shatter the radar dome atop the cabin. Tempered glass flies across the deck like diamond dust. A sailor near the ammo locker takes a round to the shoulder. The impact hurls him backward. He crashes against the gray metal bulkhead, blood spraying onto the non-slip deck. He screams, clutching the wound, his legs kicking involuntarily. "Flank speed, evasive pattern Zulu!" the captain bellows over the roar of the combat. He spins the wheel violently, throwing the boat into a sharp, nausea-inducing turn. The hull groans under the stress. The boat heels over, engines straining to the breaking point. The drone swarm regroups above, buzzing with malicious intent, preparing for the final kill shot. The river is a churning mess of wake and debris. 05:05 hours, Dnipro River. The engagement zone is a claustrophobic tunnel of noise and fury. Smoke hangs low over the water, trapping the acrid smell of burning propellant. The three U.S. boats weave in a desperate figure-8 pattern, their wakes colliding to create a chaotic, choppy surface. The engines scream at redline RPMs, struggling to push the heavy armored hulls through the water at combat speeds. The drone swarm adjusts tactics. They stop individual strafing runs. Instead, they converge. 4 drones line up in a terrifying synchronization. They dive simultaneously on the rear flank of the formation. The sky rips open. Thousands of rounds pour down from the aerial platforms. The water around the trailing boat erupts into white geysers. The sound is like a giant sheet of canvas tearing apart. On the rear deck, a gunner pivots his weapon mount. He is screaming, the veins in his neck bulging against the strain. He tracks the lead diver. The heavy machine gun bucks violently against his shoulder. A stream of tracers races upward to meet the falling steel rain. The rounds intersect. One drone flies directly into the cone of fire. The impact is catastrophic. The .50 caliber rounds smash the drone's optics and tear through the central fuselage. The aerial vehicle disintegrates in midair. Burning plastic and twisted metal shower down onto the river, sizzling as they hit the cold current. But the other 3 break through. Their rounds rake the deck of the U.S. boat. Sparks shower the crew. A burst smashes the spotlight housing, sending glass flying into the cockpit. The boat shudders under the impact. The hull rings like a struck bell. "Starboard side, brake hard!" the coxswain yells, fighting the wheel. The boat lists dangerously, water washing over the gunnels. The deck is slippery with spent brass casings and river water. Steam rises from the overheating gun barrels, blurring the air. The river is no longer a navigation channel. It is a cage of fire and steel. 0508 hours, Dnipro River. The surface battle continues unabated. Spent shell casings clutter the decks of the American boats, rolling with every violent maneuver. The roar of the drone engines overhead masks the deeper, sinister sound emerging from the riverbank. Beneath the dark water, concealed in the reeds, a submerged launch tube floods. A burst of compressed air disturbs the silt on the river bottom. 2 massive cylindrical shapes shoot out from the gloom. Their rear propellers spin up instantly, biting into the water. A trail of white cavitation bubbles marks their path. These are heavy torpedoes, programmed for acoustic homing. They lock onto the churning sound of the patrol boat diesels. They accelerate rapidly, cutting through the murky depths like steel sharks. Inside the lead U.S. boat, the sonar console screams. The operator rips the headset off his ears, wincing at the high-pitched screech. He slams a fist on the dashboard. "Vampire, vampire, torpedoes in the water, bearing 090. The captain does not hesitate. He slams the throttles to the stops. The engines whine in protest. "Hard to port, deploy acoustic decoys, now!" The boat leans dangerously, the hull almost horizontal to the water. A crewman at the stern kicks a lever. 2 canisters shoot from the rear launcher into the boat's wake. They hit the water and activate instantly, generating a loud, rhythmic thumping noise designed to confuse the guidance systems. The first torpedo corrects its course. It ignores the decoys. The sensor head tracks the specific frequency of the lead boat's propeller shafts. It closes the distance at 50 knots. The water behind the boat bulges as the weapon approaches. The wake foams and hisses. On deck, the sailors hold on to the railings, their knuckles white. They look down into the black water, watching the white trail of death racing toward them. The drone attacks overhead seem distant now. The real threat is rushing up from the deep. The distance closes. 300 meters, 200. The torpedo creates a bow wave that ripples across the surface. There is no more room to maneuver. 0510 hours, Dnipro River. The world narrows down to the patch of foaming water astern. The engine vibrations rattle the teeth of every sailor on board. The drone swarm overhead is momentarily forgotten. All eyes are fixed on the white scar cutting through the dark current. The torpedo breaches the surface briefly like a porpoise, its black nose glistening wetly, before diving for the final strike. The air feels heavy, pressurized by the approaching concussion. The captain throws the throttles into reverse, desperate to kill the momentum. The propellers churn wildly, dragging the boat to a shuddering halt. It is too late. The geometry of the intercept is absolute. The torpedo slams into the starboard quarter. The impact is not a sound. It is a physical blow that stops the heart. The warhead detonates. A massive column of water, white-hot steel and pulverized fiberglass erupts skyward. The 60-foot boat is lifted bodily out of the river. It hangs in the air for a split second, a broken toy, surrounded by a halo of vaporized river water, before crashing back down with a bone-jarring crunch. The shockwave ripples outward, flattening the river reeds on the bank. The starboard hull is gone. Shredded metal peels back like the skin of an orange, exposing the twisted ribbing of the boat's frame. Fire erupts from the ruptured fuel tanks. A fireball rolls upward, turning the gray morning orange. The river surface transforms into a burning oil slick. Thick, oily black smoke billows instantly, choking the air and obscuring the sun. Inside the boat, chaos reigns. The blast wave hurls crewmen across the deck like ragdolls. One gunner is thrown clear over the railing, splashing into the burning water below. Inside the cabin, the main console explodes in a shower of sparks and plastic shards. The captain slams against the armored glass windshield, blood smearing the pane instantly. He collapses to the floor, stunned. The boat lists violently to the right, the stern slipping beneath the surface. Water rushes into the compartments, dragging the vessel down. The second torpedo, confused by the explosion, buries itself in the mudbank 50 meters away, detonating in a shower of wet earth and sludge. 05:15 hours, East Riverbank, overlooking the ambush site. The heavy smoke from the burning patrol boat drifts over the marshland, marking the kill zone. The drone swarm circles above the wreckage like vultures, sensors pivoting to target the survivors struggling in the water. But the trap snaps shut from the ground. Hidden beneath thermal blankets and camouflage netting in the tree line, heavy machinery stirs. The camouflage nets are torn away. Two U.S. mobile air defense vehicles roar out of the mud, their tracks churning the soft earth. They settle onto the hard-packed dirt of the access road. The turrets spin rapidly, servo motors whining. The box-like missile pods elevate, locking onto the aerial signatures swarming above the river. The radar dishes atop the vehicles spin in a blur, painting the sky with invisible energy. Track, lock, fire! The battery commander screams into the radio handset. The launch tubes ignite. A deafening whoosh tears through the tree line. 4 surface-to-air missiles streak from the pods. They ride pillars of white fire, accelerating instantly to supersonic speeds. The sound is a crack of thunder that shakes the remaining leaves from the trees. The missiles tear into the sky, leaving thick, corkscrewing smoke trails that weave through the morning mist. They hunt the heat of the drone engines. The swarm breaks formation, scattering in panic, but the missiles are faster. They close the gap in seconds. The air fills with the screech of rocket motors as the interceptors adjust their flight paths, turning the hunter into the prey. 05:18 hours, airspace above the Dnipro River. The sky is a chaotic tapestry of smoke trails and burning fuel. The 4 surface-to-air missiles reach terminal velocity. They do not rely on direct impact. Their warheads are packed with pre-fragmented tungsten rods. The lead missile senses the density of the drone formation. The proximity fuse triggers. The sky flashes white. The explosion is a sharp, cracking boom that echoes off the valley walls. The blast wave expands outward at supersonic speed. It slams into the cluster of 4 drones. The shockwave shears the wings off the lightweight carbon fiber frames instantly. The bodies of the aircraft crumble like crushed soda cans. Rotors shatter into thousands of razor-sharp shards. Shrapnel rips through the battery packs. White-hot fire erupts from within the fuselages. The drones cease to be aircraft. They become falling debris. They tumble out of the sky, trailing thick ribbons of black smoke. One burning drone carcass plummets straight down. It smashes into the bridge of the second U.S. patrol boat. The impact sprays burning lithium gel across the deck. Sailors dive for cover as the chemical fire hisses and pops, eating through the paint. A second missile finds its mark lower in the swarm. It detonates directly beneath a diving drone. The blast vaporizes the target completely. A cloud of metallic glitter hangs in the air where the machine used to be. The remaining drones scatter violently, their flight paths erratic. The coordinated attack is broken. Gravity claims the wreckage. Pieces of burning plastic and twisted circuitry rain down on the river surface, hissing loudly as they are extinguished by the freezing water. 05:22 hours, airspace above the northern tree line. The sound of the battle shifts. The high-pitched whine of electric drone motors is suddenly drowned out by a deep, rhythmic thumping that vibrates in the chest. The trees on the riverbank thrash violently as if caught in a hurricane. 2 U.S. attack helicopters crest the ridge, nose down, moving at combat speed. They fly aggressively low, their skids barely clearing the treetops. The wash from their main rotors flattens the smoke rising from the burning patrol boat, clearing the field of view. The pilots waste no time. The nose-mounted rotary cannons swivel, tracking the remaining drones that weave through the steel supports of the railway bridge. The cannons spin up. A long guttural roar echoes across the valley as 30mm rounds spew from the muzzles. The muzzle flashes are bright yellow tongues of fire in the gray morning. The heavy rounds chew through the concrete bridge pylons, sending dust and chips flying. One drone attempts to dive toward the water to escape. The helicopter pilot adjusts his pedals, pivoting the aircraft on a dime. The gunner tracks the movement. A 3-second burst shreds the air. The rounds connect. The drone vaporizes into a cloud of black plastic and sparks. Another drone banks hard, attempting to hide behind a steel girder. The second helicopter drifts sideways, exposing the flank. It fires a pod of unguided rockets. The rockets streak forward, leaving corkscrew smoke trails. They slam into the bridge structure. The explosion engulfs the drone in a sphere of fire and shrapnel. The shockwave rattles the remaining glass on the patrol boats below. The sky is cleared. The hunters have become the hunted, and the air support is efficient, brutal, and precise. 05:45 hours, Dnipro River bank. The heavy machine guns fall silent. The roar of the helicopter engines fades to a low idle as they circle the perimeter, holding a protective hover. The battle is over, replaced by the crackle of burning fiberglass and the shouts of rescue teams. The river current carries a long black streak of oil downstream, mixed with charred debris and white foam. The lead patrol boat is a smoking ruin. It sits low in the water, beached on a sandbar near the eastern bank. The starboard hull is a jagged maw of twisted aluminum. Smoke pours from the engine compartment, thick and acrid, drifting into the trees. A rigid-hull inflatable boat races from the shore, kicking up spray. It slams alongside the listing vessel. "Get a line over, now!" a petty officer screams, his face smeared with soot. Sailors on the rescue boat reach out, grabbing the hands of the survivors. They pull a wounded gunner across the gap. His flight suit is torn, dark blood staining the fabric of his leg. He groans through gritted teeth as he hits the deck. A medic drops to his knees instantly. He rips open a trauma kit. Plastic wrappers fly away in the wind. He twists a tourniquet high on the sailor's thigh. The plastic windlass clicks loudly. One turn, two turns, the bleeding slows. On the muddy bank, another survivor sits wrapped in a foil thermal blanket. He shivers violently, shock setting in. His eyes stare at the burning wreckage of his ship. A Navy corpsman checks his pupils with a penlight, speaking commands that are lost in the wind. Divers slide backward off the rescue boat into the freezing water. They disappear beneath the oil slick, searching for the missing crewmen. The water is dark and unforgiving. Overhead, the sun finally breaks through the cloud cover. It illuminates the scene, the shattered bridge pylons, the smoking craters on the bank, and the broken hull of the American warship bleeding oil into the river.